Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our bonus live class today. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the letter S and the different sounds that it can make. I was working on a video today, working on the word Asian American, and thinking about how spelling can be very confusing when it comes to pronunciation in English. And letter S is one of the letters that we think of typically as having one sound, the S sound, and we even call that the S sound. But there are many other sounds that the letter S can make, and this can present you with some challenges. So let's break it down. We'll talk about these sounds, and I do recommend I talk about every sound of English in my American Sounds course on speechmodification.com. It's a great way to look at sounds and spelling, accent error patterns, and to improve your pronunciation. So the most typical that we think of when we think of letter S is the S sound, and that's in words like see and bus. Usually when S starts a word, it's going to be the S sound. So see, sign, stop, etc. Those all have the S sound. Often at the ends of words, the letter S doesn't say S. So it does on words like bus and yes, that's another common word. But frequently at the ends of words like was, does, these, etc., the letter S says the sound Z. So the only difference between these two is that when I say the S sound, S, my voice isn't on. When I say the Z sound, Z, my voice is on. And that's what you see for this letter S in was, does, etc. Also, words like busy, business. Sometimes in the middle of words, the letter S says the Z sound. Frequently, it does say the S sound in the middle of words. The way to know is you can look up in the dictionary and you'll see in the IPA. So if I was looking at the word was in the dictionary, it's going to have the little pronunciation guide. It'll show me each sound, the W, the schwa, and the Z. And so fortunately, it's very easy to read for S and Z. You just look for the Z says Z, Z, the S says S, and that's one way to check. You can also use my video for how to know when S says S or Z at the ends of words, and you can use my final Z video to look at common words that have the Z sound at the end. Pretty frequently at the ends of words, you're going to see S as a Z. Also, when it's an SE, like these and those, SE often will say the S sound. It can say S, but get used to the fact that it often says Z. Okay, then when we go to S in the middle of words, it can say S and Z, S and Z, like we were just talking about. It can also say the SH sound. So for example, the word issue, we don't say issue in American English, we say issue. So the SH sound, I call it that because here's the symbol for it. We often spell it with SH as well in words like wish, shoe, show, etc. So I think of that sound as being represented by those letters, but really it's one sound. The difference between the S sound, S, and the SH sound, sh, is in my tongue placement. The S sound, my tongue is more forward with the tip down. The sh, you have to pull the tongue back a little bit, and you may also round your lips a little bit, sh versus s. At the start of words like sure and sugar, we have the letter S saying the SH. This also happens in the middle of words. I can't think of an example of where S would say SH at the ends of words, so I think that may occur, but it's more frequent in the middle and at the ends. It's not a super frequent use of the letter S, but it does occur sometimes, and it's good to know the difference between the S and sh sounds. And then this sound, the zh sound, is what started this idea to have this class today because of the word Asian. I often use the word measure as an example. Basically, the S in these words says the sound zh, and this is the symbol for that sound. It's just like the SH sound, except my voice is on. So when I say shh and zh, nothing changes with the position of my tongue or how I'm holding my mouth. The only difference is that I turn my voice on. So that's similar to how the s and z sounds have the same placement, the same articulation, but s has no voice and z has voice. The reason I'm touching my throat there is that you can actually feel if your voice is on. So if you hold your throat and you say s, you won't feel any vibration for your vocal folds. When you say z, you'll feel that your voice is on to make that sound. Same thing with sh, no voice, and zh has voicing. So words like Asian, measure, it's a somewhat unusual pronunciation for the Z, but maybe not that unusual, because I just noticed in unusual, there's another example of the zh sound, usual, unusual, usually. So these are several different common combinations or several different common sounds that the letter S can make. Thinking about English, it's really valuable to know more about what sounds are versus what letters are. We often talk about this in the context of vowels, that we have those 5 vowel letters, but 15 vowel sounds. But we have, even for consonant letters like S, it doesn't always consistently say the same thing. So knowing what these sounds are, what common words they're in, what symbols you can see in the dictionary for those sounds can be very useful. I talk about every sound of English in my American Sounds course on speechmodification.com. And that's an online course that has videos and lessons for each sound, talks about what words have those sounds, how they're spelled, how to pronounce them, and what accent error patterns to watch out for. So sometimes it's just knowing what the sounds should be. Other times you may have errors because your native language doesn't have those sounds or doesn't use them in the same way. So I recommend that course. It's actually just $1.99 for the full course of all of the sounds. I'm trying to make all of my online courses either free or under $2 for you guys now, because I think that people can benefit from having some additional resources and help for understanding and using good American English pronunciation. So I hope that you'll check that out. I'll be back tomorrow with Word of the Day, and on Friday we'll have our live question and answer class where we take your questions regarding pronunciation. Welcome, everyone. I see we have a question, so I'll take a moment to answer your questions now here at the end of class as well. So the question was for the word world, and I do have a video specifically breaking down how to pronounce the word world, but I'll go through it briefly here for you now. And then afterwards in the comments, I'll give you the link for that video. So world is a good example of how spelling can lead us astray, because the letters OR in world say the ER sound. So if I think about the word were, it's actually the same beginning as world. So if you can say were, then to make it into world, you add a dark L, which has a little bit of a schwa sound, and then a D sound. The way I break it down in my video is to kind of help you think about building from the So were, world. It's not always easy for people to go from that American R, the into the dark L, ul. Keep the back of your tongue down, earled, and stretch out the word a little bit longer to be able to get those sounds. Figure out also if the L gives you more trouble, then work on other words with dark L at the end. If the R gives you more trouble, work on words like were and work in order to be able to say that correctly. You might also find that working on a word like girl, that can help you with world, because it has the same combination of that sound with the dark L. So that's what I talk about in my video for world. I also cover dark L, American R, OR, and ER words and spelling and sounds in my American Sounds course. Nice to see everyone here. Thank you. So I will be back again tomorrow with Word of the Day, where we talk about pronunciation. I do also have a Word of the Day online course, and that contains our Word of the Day videos where we break down individual words and sounds. And on that course, which is totally free, we also have definitions for the words, so you can work on your vocabulary as well. All of the online courses are on speechmodification.com on our courses page. Great, wonderful. Okay, so thank you for the question and the request. I hope that helps you with the letter S and the different sounds that it says, and I look forward to seeing you in our future classes. Thanks so much to those of you who've joined the channel as channel members. I really appreciate your support. If you're interested in that, you can click the join button and it'll show you what perks you can get. Channel members can ask their questions at any time during the week, and then I cover the answers for them each week on Sunday in a small live class. They can also watch that as a replay. If they're not available to watch the class live, then they don't have to wait for their requests. If you have a request, feel free to leave it on this video or any of my videos in the comments, and I'll add it to my list for things to cover in a future class. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you tomorrow.